10 health-related quotes from Stoic philosophers. It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor. Seneca. This quote by Seneca, a Stoic philosopher, carries an expansive meaning that delves into the concept of wealth and poverty beyond mere material possessions. At its core, the quote suggests that true poverty is not necessarily about lacking material wealth or possessions, but rather about having insatiable desires and cravings. Seneca is highlighting the idea that someone who constantly desires more, regardless of their current possessions or status, is actually impoverished in terms of their contentment and mental well-being. This continuous craving for more, whether it's wealth, possessions, power, or external validation, can lead to a perpetual sense of dissatisfaction and unhappiness. Conversely, a person who has learned to be content with what they have and does not let insatiable desires control them is truly rich in a different sense. This interpretation aligns with Stoic philosophy's emphasis on cultivating inner virtues, wisdom, and resilience rather than being solely focused on accumulating external riches. In the context of modern life, this quote remains relevant as it encourages reflection on the pursuit of materialism and the importance of finding satisfaction and contentment within ourselves, rather than through the acquisition of more things. It serves as a reminder that our perspective and attitude towards what we have and what we desire play a significant role in determining our sense of richness or poverty. The first rule is to keep an untroubled spirit. The second is to look things in the face and know them for what they are. Marcus Aurelius. This quote by Marcus Aurelius reflects the Stoic principle of maintaining inner tranquility and a clear understanding of reality. The first rule is to keep an untroubled spirit, emphasizes the importance of maintaining a calm and composed mindset regardless of external circumstances. It suggests that no matter what challenges or difficulties we face, we should strive to keep our emotions in check and not let them disturb our inner peace. This speaks to the Stoic idea that our thoughts and judgments are within our control, even if external events are not. The second is to look things in the face and know them for what they are. Encourages facing reality head-on without delusion or distortion. It's about seeing things as they truly are, without adding unnecessary interpretations, judgments, or emotional biases. This aligns with the Stoic practice of practicing clear and rational thinking, rather than being swayed by emotions or preconceived notions. In essence, this quote underscores the Stoic philosophy of focusing on what we can control, our thoughts and reactions, and accepting the external world with equanimity. By maintaining a calm spirit and a realistic understanding of things, we can navigate life's challenges with greater wisdom and resilience. It is not the things themselves that disturb people, but the judgments that they form about them. Epictetus. This quote by Epictetus delves into the idea that our perceptions and judgments, rather than external events themselves, are what truly influence our emotional responses and well-being. It is not the things themselves that disturb people, suggests that events, circumstances, or situations in and of themselves are neutral. They don't inherently carry emotional impact. It's our interpretation of them that shapes how we feel. But the judgments that they form about them emphasizes that our thoughts, assessments, and interpretations of events are what lead to emotional disturbances. The way we perceive and evaluate situations gives rise to feelings of distress, anger, anxiety, or contentment. The profound insight behind this quote lies in the Stoic principle that we have the power to control our reactions by controlling our judgments. By recognizing that our emotional responses stem from our own assessments rather than the events themselves, we gain the ability to choose more reasoned and balanced perspectives. In essence, Epictetus is urging us to question and adjust our judgments, recognizing that our mental reactions are within our control. By cultivating a more objective and rational mindset, we can reduce unnecessary suffering and navigate life's challenges with greater composure and wisdom. No person has the power to have everything they want, but it is in their power not to want what they don't have, and to cheerfully put to good use what they do have. Seneca. This quote by Seneca encapsulates a core Stoic principle that centers around managing desires, finding contentment, and making the most of what we possess. No person has the power to have everything they want, acknowledges the inherent limitations of human desires. No matter how much we may wish for or pursue various things in life, there will always be something beyond our reach. It's a reminder that external circumstances and material possessions are not entirely under our control. But it is in their power not to want what they don't have. Suggests that the key to a more content and peaceful life lies in our ability to detach ourselves from unattainable desires. Instead of fixating on what we lack or coveting things beyond our reach, we have the power to cultivate an attitude of acceptance and moderation, and to cheerfully put to good use what they do have. Emphasizes the importance of making the best of our current circumstances and resources. This involves finding joy and purpose in what we already possess and making the most of it. By adopting an attitude of cheerful acceptance and active utilization of what's available to us, we can enhance our well-being and sense of fulfillment. Expanding further, this quote encapsulates the Stoic notion of focusing on what's within our control, our thoughts, attitudes, and responses. It highlights the significance of internal qualities, such as gratitude and contentment, over the endless pursuit of external possessions or circumstances. Seneca encourages us to align our desires with reality, finding happiness not in acquiring everything we want, but in appreciating and using wisely what we already have. This perspective allows us to lead a more balanced, resilient, and fulfilling life, even in the face of challenges and limitations. If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment. Marcus Aurelius. This powerful quote by Marcus Aurelius delves into the Stoic philosophy of perception, emotional resilience, and the role of our own judgments in shaping our experiences. If you are distressed by anything external, sets the stage by acknowledging that external events or circumstances can trigger distress or negative emotions in us. It recognizes that challenges, difficulties, and unexpected situations are an inevitable part of life. The pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. Delves deeper into the concept. It suggests that the pain or distress we feel is not caused directly by the event itself, but by the way we perceive, interpret, and judge that event. In other words, our emotions are not dictated by the event, but by our thoughts about the event. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment, offers a profound insight into the human capacity for agency and control over our reactions. It highlights that our judgments are within our control. We can choose to reassess, reinterpret, or change our perspective on a situation. This implies that we can reduce or even eliminate the emotional pain by altering our perspective. Expanding on the quote, Marcus Aurelius is inviting us to realize that the suffering we experience is often self-imposed through our subjective interpretations. He encourages us to recognize the separation between events and our reactions to them. By consciously reevaluating our judgments and choosing more rational, balanced interpretations, we can transform our emotional responses. This aligns with the Stoic practice of cultivating emotional resilience, wisdom, and tranquility by focusing on what's within our control, our thoughts and responses. Ultimately, this quote emphasizes our capacity to find greater peace and freedom from suffering by mastering our own perceptions and judgments. He who fears death will never do anything worthy of a living man. Seneca. This quote by Seneca delves into the concept of fear, the value of living fully, and the Stoic perspective on embracing life despite the inevitability of death. He who fears death addresses the natural human tendency to fear the unknown, particularly the idea of mortality and the cessation of existence. It acknowledges that the fear of death can be a powerful and paralyzing force in people's lives. Will never do anything worthy of a living man carries a profound message. It suggests that if an individual allows their fear of death to control them, they may avoid taking risks, pursuing meaningful endeavors, or living up to their full potential. the fear of death can become a barrier to engaging in activities that contribute to a rich, purposeful life. Expanding on the quote, Seneca is essentially emphasizing the idea that embracing life fully requires a willingness to confront and transcend the fear of death. By allowing this fear to dictate our choices, we might miss out on opportunities for personal growth, contributing to society, and leaving a positive impact on the world. The quote aligns with Stoic principles that encourage us to focus on what's within our control, our thoughts, actions, and attitudes, rather than external circumstances like death. It's a call to live virtuously and with courage, regardless of the uncertainties that lie ahead. In this context, worthy of a living man alludes to a life lived with purpose, integrity, and the willingness to face challenges head-on. Ultimately, Seneca's quote prompts us to reflect on how our fears can hold us back from fully experiencing life. By acknowledging the inevitability of death and confronting our fear of it, we can find the courage to pursue a life that is meaningful, fulfilling, and aligned with our values. The greatest wealth is a poverty of desires. Seneca. Seneca's quote, "The greatest wealth is a poverty of desires," encapsulates a profound Stoic insight into the nature of true wealth and contentment, highlighting the significance of inner disposition over material accumulation. The greatest wealth immediately shifts our perception of wealth from the traditional notion of material possessions and riches to something less tangible and more profound. Seneca introduces the idea that there exists a form of wealth that transcends external trappings. Is a poverty of desires introduces a paradoxical concept, that true wealth is actually found in having fewer desires rather than fulfilling countless wants. This idea resonates with Stoic philosophy, which emphasizes the importance of aligning our desires with what is under our control, rather than fixating on external circumstances. Expanding on the quote, Seneca is suggesting that when we free ourselves from the endless cycle of pursuing material possessions, status, and superficial desires, we experience a form of abundance. By cultivating a poverty of desires, we discover contentment in the present moment and reduce our dependence on external factors for our happiness. This quote is a reminder that the pursuit of material wealth can often lead to never-ending dissatisfaction, as desires tend to multiply with each acquisition. In contrast, limiting our desires allows us to appreciate what we have and find richness in simplicity. It speaks to the Stoic principle of focusing on what we can control, our thoughts, attitudes, and responses, rather than being consumed by external desires that are often beyond our influence. In essence, Seneca's quote is an invitation to reassess our values and priorities, recognizing that genuine wealth lies in the tranquility that comes from wanting less and finding contentment within ourselves. It encourages us to seek a state of mind where we're not constantly yearning for more, but rather finding fulfillment in the richness of a life guided by wisdom and self-mastery. Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking. Marcus Aurelius. This quote by Marcus Aurelius captures a profound Stoic perspective on happiness, emphasizing the role of our thoughts and attitudes in shaping our overall well-being and contentment. Very little is needed to make a happy life. Challenges the common assumption that happiness is contingent on possessing a multitude of external factors such as wealth, status, or possessions. Instead, Marcus Aurelius suggests that the requirements for a happy life are actually quite minimal. It is all within yourself. Directs attention to an internal source of happiness. It highlights that true contentment originates from within, rather than relying on external circumstances. This concept is central to Stoic philosophy, which emphasizes the cultivation of inner virtues, wisdom, and emotional resilience. In your way of thinking, focuses on the power of our thoughts and mindset. It suggests that happiness is not solely dependent on the events or situations that occur in our lives, but rather on how we perceive and interpret those events. Our perspectives and interpretations are well within our control, and by consciously shaping them, we can influence our emotional responses. Expanding on the quote, Marcus Aurelius is inviting us to recognize that the key to a happy life lies in our ability to choose our reactions and attitudes. By embracing simplicity, appreciating the small joys, and adopting a positive and rational outlook, we can find happiness in the present moment, regardless of external circumstances. The quote encourages us to let go of the misconception that happiness is a result of accumulating external possessions or circumstances. Instead, it directs our focus inward, toward cultivating virtues, self-awareness, and a balanced perspective. This Stoic wisdom empowers us to find a lasting and profound sense of happiness by mastering our own thoughts and cultivating a harmonious relationship with ourselves. What really frightens and dismays us is not external events themselves, but the way in which we think about them. It is not things that disturb us, but our interpretation of their significance. Epictetus. Epictetus' quote delves into the profound idea that our perceptions and interpretations play a significant role in shaping our emotional responses to the world around us. External events themselves acknowledges that life is filled with events, circumstances, and situations that can range from challenging to joyful. These events are neutral in their essence, devoid of inherent emotional meaning. The way in which we think about them shifts the focus to our subjective responses. Epictetus suggests that what truly impacts us is not the events themselves, but the manner in which we process and perceive them. It's a recognition that our emotions are closely tied to the judgments we form about events. It is not things that disturb us, but our interpretation of their significance. Reinforces the idea that it's our internal interpretations that determine our emotional disturbances. The fear, dismay, or distress we experience are rooted in the meanings we assign to external events, often influenced by our preconceived notions, beliefs, and biases. Expanding on the quote, Epictetus is prompting us to realize that we possess agency over our emotional responses. We have the power to shape the way we interpret events, which in turn shapes our emotional reactions. This aligns with the Stoic philosophy, which advocates for cultivating rational, balanced, and virtue-based perspectives to achieve emotional resilience. The quote encourages us to question our interpretations, challenge irrational fears, and cultivate a more objective viewpoint. By recognizing that our interpretations are within our control, we gain the ability to navigate life's challenges with greater equanimity. In essence, Epictetus is advocating for the practice of thoughtful reflection and self-awareness, helping us to reframe our interpretations and minimize unnecessary distress. The chief task in life is simply this: to identify and separate matters so that I can say clearly to myself which are externals not under my control, and which have to do with the choices I actually control. Epictetus. Epictetus quote: "The chief task in life is simply this: to identify and separate matters so that I can say clearly to myself which are externals not under my control, and which have to do with the choices I actually control," encapsulates a fundamental Stoic teaching about discerning between what is within our control and what lies beyond it. The chief task in life establishes the central purpose that the Stoics believed individuals should strive for during their existence. It's a succinct way of emphasizing what should occupy our focus and efforts. To identify and separate matters directs us toward a process of mental discernment. This involves evaluating the various aspects of our experiences and categorizing them based on their nature. Externals not under my control highlights the distinction between things that are beyond our influence and those that fall within our sphere of control. The Stoics believe that events, other people's actions, and many external circumstances were not directly under our control. Choices I actually control emphasizes the domain over which we have agency, our thoughts, attitudes, and actions. This refers to our ability to choose our responses and behaviors, irrespective of external circumstances. Expanding on the quote, Epictetus is conveying the essence of Stoicism, the practice of differentiating between what is within our power and what isn't. This practice enables us to allocate our energy wisely, focusing on what we can change while developing resilience and acceptance toward what is beyond our control. By identifying and separating these aspects, we can reduce unnecessary anxiety and frustration that arise from trying to control the uncontrollable. We become more attuned to our own choices and responses, fostering a sense of inner freedom, tranquility, and virtue. In essence, Epictetus is suggesting that the crux of a meaningful and virtuous life lies in the conscious recognition of our limitations, combined with the intentional cultivation of our own thoughts and actions. This wisdom empowers us to engage with life in a way that aligns with our values and enhances our overall well-being. These quotes emphasize the Stoic philosophy's focus on inner resilience, control over one's thoughts, and the importance of a balanced perspective on external events. Which quote caught your attention the most? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more content designed to fuel your creativity and positivity. Until next time, stay positive and keep embracing the wonders of your hard work. Stay happy! And thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Check out my website in the description below to see what I'm writing. Peace.